I do think that she's a bit delusional here, and also maybe the slightest bit disrespectful. Because, I don't know. So we need to be completely honest about Aya Wilson here. Because these are some of the dumbest conversations ever in sport is. Surrounding Aya Wilson. The basketball world is spoken, and it's not pretty from NBA veterans too. WNBA legends everyone is weighing in on Wilson's audacious claim that she could defeat NBA players one-on-one. These are arguments that shouldn't have to be made, but we must because regrettably that is the current situation. It seems like you have to discuss whether or not Aya Wilson is superior to freaking NBA players. What is happening? But here's the real shocker. Even Wilson's own teammates are avoiding her remarks. No one, not even a bench player, is expressing concern about her sheer size and athleticism. She has completely lost it. Stay tuned as we dive into the flurry of reactions surrounding the WNBA's reigning MVP. I promise you won't believe what some of these players are saying. Are you ready to let go? Aya Wilson recently appeared on the podcast Roommates, which is hosted by Jalen Brunson and Josh Hart. They're also very successful on there. The podcast is quite wholesome. She continued to discuss everything related to her career in the WNBA, and you know what's crazy? Aya Wilson just made a bold statement that has the entire basketball world talking, and she's not just saying it, she believes it 1000%. Imagine Wilson sitting pretty on the Roommates show right after her MVP season, beaming and enjoying her success, and then suddenly she starts talking about playing one-on-one against NBA players. Wait, what? He wants to know what's the end score if Josh and you play one-on-one till 11. Let's start by breaking down her exact words because believe me, they are pretty unbelievable. She didn't just say she could compete, she went all in. Wilson said she would get the ball first and her opponent wouldn't get it back. That shows that Aya truly believes she can compete against NBA talent and win. Now you may be wondering who the unlucky NBA player she's pointing out is, but she put her bet on Josh Hart, a starter for the New York. He's not quite a walkover though, as the Knicks are averaging 14.2 points, 8.9 rebounds, and 5.7 assists per game this season. It feels like the score would be closer to 8 to 11, and I'm not going to get the ball first. You're going to have the ball first and she will get the ball, but that will be yours. It's okay that time will be your period. There is more to this narrative, but I'm not saying I'm going to go like you're going to go scoreless, but I think 8 to 11 is very strong. The responses of the host, can you really blame them? The priceless couldn't believe what they were hearing. Wilson didn't just say she would win, she also predicted the score. Are you prepared for this? She said she would defeat Hart 11-8 in a one-on-one match, which in her opinion would be a resounding triumph. What do you think the score will be? This is where things get even more bizarre. Josh, so please don't irritate me. Josh Hart, who is a good sport, agreed to play along. He initially joked that he would win 11-2. But after Wilson became irate, he politely changed his prediction to 11-7, which is still a win for him, but at least he's giving her a little more credit. A good 11 is probably 117. Okay, that's fair, you got 7, okay. No, you can't, you understand what you mean now. You're probably considering what I'm considering. Has Asia gone insane, although confidence is admirable. This is really something else. We're discussing the NBA, the top men's basketball league, and Wilson isn't just claiming that she can compete, she's claiming that she can dominate. For a moment, let's face it, Asia Wilson is without a doubt the queen of delusion. She is a terrific basketball player with the talents, awards, and MVP trophy to prove it, but defeating NBA players one-on-one. What do we think of all this? Is Wilson simply displaying the supreme confidence of a champion? Or has she gone too far? The size difference, strength advantage, and other factors make it a completely different game. Josh Hart should have flamed her at that point, sending her into the abyss. Let's be honest, 110 can give her the ball first, block her shot, grab the rebound, and then dunk it on her 11 times. Before we draw any conclusions, let's see what the pros have to say about this bold claim. Believe me, their reactions are as wild as Asia's, but when it comes to a game as physical as one-on-one, when it comes to speed, height, quickness, and defensive abilities, that's where I believe Josh Hart. And some of these men, you have to understand that men in the NBA have some of the biggest egos in the world, and rightfully so when it comes to their sport, because they have put in a lot of effort to get there and have defeated a lot of people in the process. As a result, I feel like their ego is saying, how dare you even say that you could beat me? After hearing Wilson's remarks, former NBA All-Star and champion Jeff Teague went into full bulldozer mode and crushed her claim on his podcast. Teague dropped a bombshell saying that Wilson couldn't defeat any NBA player, G League player, or even a college baller. Talk about a brutal takedown, A'ja Wilson. No one in the NBA could receive SP, not one, not one. They're talking about bench players, and Teague is demonstrating the widening gap between men's and women's basketball, and it doesn't look good for her. He made the point that if you like the video, then subscribe to the channel. Guys are serious players who have been dominating since high school, and Teague knows what he's talking about because he's been there before. He also gave us an inside look at professional basketball, stating that in high school and college, the bench used to average 40. Now Wilson is a WNBA star with a game and an MVP trophy to prove it, but Teague is talking about a completely different game. He claims that men's basketball, with all its athleticism and high-flying plays, is just on a whole different level. The top WNBA player is not beating the 12-man, she's not beating it in the G League, and she's not beating it in college. He believes that the disparity in strength and skill is so great that A'ja wouldn't have a chance against even lower-level male players. What does a WNBA legend have to say about the current debate between men's and women's basketball? You won't believe who else is getting involved in this Wilson drama, the one and only Cheryl Miller, folks. That's the basketball legend who once scored 105 points in a high school game and had her college jersey retired before she even graduated from USC. Talk about a baller, you would think Miller would be all about helping her fellow athletes. Female star, correct. Hold on to your seats, for rather than supporting Wilson's audacious assertions, her perspective on the matter is not what you would anticipate from a legend of women's basketball. Although Miller's opinions are causing some controversy in the basketball community, I am certain that I could have played if I had been competitive in the W, and I wouldn't have missed the beat. The twist is that Miller isn't merely making comments about Wilson's. No, she's making a bold statement of her own, and I can assure you that it's amazing, but wait. There's more. Miller went beyond simply saying she could hang in today's WNBA, going so far as to specifically call out A'ja Wilson. In her own words, there's no one that I look at even today who would say yes, get hers, but God, I would always make sure I got 10 more. You might be wondering who Cheryl Miller thinks she is, but remember that we're talking about a 3-time Naismith College Player of the Year, 2-time Olympic gold medalist, and 5-time gold medalist with Team USA. I always had more than just a score, and I felt very comfortable that I could guard A'ja and make it very difficult. People pay attention when this woman talks, because she owns more hardware than a Home Depot, but this is where things get really fascinating, Miller. We're not saying that everyone in your era could transgame and translate to the present day, which is definitely not the case, just like in my era, but there are certain special talents that you put them in at any point in the game's history, and they G to do their damage, and you're definitely one of those, because besides talking about Wilson, she's also bringing herself into the conversation. It's a bold statement that has everyone wondering if Miller is correct. Claim that you're the biggest jerk. So now Legends is commenting on the entire situation. Wilson asserts her ability to defeat NBA players. You won't believe what one of A'ja's own teammates has to say about all of this. Trust me, it's going to blow your mind. Jeff T claims she couldn't even beat college guys, and now Cheryl Miller claims she could guard Wilson herself. It's like a basketball soap opera, and it's getting crazy, but hold on to your jerseys, because this story is far from over. Maybe I can score, but who am I going to defend these? These point guards are around 66 in number. Wilson's teammate Kelsey Plum, a sharpshooter for the Las Vegas Aces, decided to weigh in on the Wilson saga just when you thought it couldn't get wilder. Wilson's teammate had something to say about beating NBA players one-on-one, which was essentially the exact opposite of what A'ja has been saying, not even someone from the bench. Plum didn't simply dismiss the notion. Instead, she provided a useful perspective by highlighting the significant physical distinctions between the WNBA and NBA athletes. Here's the truth. Competence isn't everything. Plum's acknowledged that the issue is simply one of size and athleticism, but she went on to say, maybe I can score, but who am I going to defend out that's got to hurt? You must realize that if we're doing skill workouts or shooting drills, I'm very confident in anyone you put in front of me that I can compete. Although you might score on an NBA player in these conversations, Plum is bringing out a significant aspect of basketball that people frequently overlook: stopping them. Plum's perspective is refreshingly honest. She isn't ashamed to admit that she couldn't defeat any NBA player one-on-one due to their size and agility. That's a whole other scenario when you're up against guards who are frequently 66 skill strong. We would rapidly learn the gap in skill, ability, and physical capacity. From Gap's modest admission, which is very different from Wilson's confident statements. The social media response has been furious, with fans going crazy with hashtags like Asia and totally delusional. Wilson's challenge: everyone seems to have an opinion and isn't afraid to voice it, but this dispute goes beyond online chit-chat and might have detrimental effects on Wilson's reputation. People begin to doubt everything about you when you make such bold claims. It's like Asia opened a can of worms, and it might be difficult to close it now that her credibility is in jeopardy. This goes beyond normal sports trash talk, and the basketball community is closely watching to see how Asia handles this situation, ultimately make or break her reputation. This might be the beginning of a difficult period for one of the top talents in the WNBA. Do you agree? Please share your thoughts in the comment section, subscribe, and enable all notifications so you don't miss anything. Select the video that appears on the screen, and we'll see you at the following one. Thanks for watching and subscribe my channel.